Hi everyone, I'm Judiann and I'm going to show you today how to thread and use the Juki DDL8700 machine. Okay, so we're going to start with talking about the parts of the machine, and we're going to start here. This is the thread cone holders, and you've got your hole here to get the thread up through the spool and come down, depending on what thread you're using. If you don't need it to roll off the spool, then you would just go directly from here to here. And then you have the thread here that would go into this hole, which would be attached when you want to do your bobbin winding. So over here we have the bobbin winder, and you can see the different parts of it. So you've got the tension disc here and the hole for the thread, and this is the spindle that will hold the bobbin. And I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. So this is the lever that lifts your foot manually. See, it goes up like that. And then I also have a knee lift down here, and you would just use your knee to push that up, and that lifts up the foot. This is your thread length size. So normally we have it on number 2, which is 12 stitches per inch, but if you want to change it, you just move this lever down, and then you can move it to a larger stitch all the way up to 5, which is a gathering stitch, and then really small, like down to 0. But I'm going to keep it right there at 2. So this is your reverse lever for sewing, but it disengages it so you can move that way. Over here we have our other tension disc that controls the tension of your thread. And this is the dial that adjusts the tension. So normally when you want to adjust the tension, you would put it straight and flush like that, and then you would spin it twice, and that's pretty much your average tension. You don't want to have to mess around with that too much. This little guy here is the pressure of the foot. So this controls the pressure here when you're sewing. So if you're doing thicker fabrics, you would just loosen, depends on what you're doing. You loosen it, and then you can make it go higher and then tighten it again. And then if you want more pressure, just loosen it and tighten it. So that would be, if you're using silks, you would put more pressure, for example, and then if you're doing something thicker, you can raise it. So just have to adjust that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start threading it and continue talking about the parts that we're threading, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do, so I'm gonna take the here, oops, and put it through the eye. Okay, and now sometimes you have a hole and a tension disc here, sometimes you just have a hole, depends on the age of your machine, but you're gonna go from the back if you have the hole and the tension disc from the back, then lift it up slowly into the tension disc. And it should not feel tight, it should feel really smooth. Now we're going to go into our first thread guide. From right to left, wrap around. Okay, so right to left and around and right to left. So you have this little curl. Again, test it, make sure it's not pulling too tight. Now we're going to go down into the tension disc, and we're going to lay it in between. So you see, if you use your fingers, you can open it. And what you should make it feel like is you're flossing your teeth. Just kind of go like that and make sure it's in there. Because if it just lays here, it can just pop out like it even just did now. And it also will not give you the proper tension. So I always just do this first. And then the tension spring, we're going to put the thread there. When you look straight at it, it should be at 11 o'clock. And then the thread goes in it. And if it doesn't pull, then we have to check it. This is another thread guide. So it goes under the thread guide here. And now another thread guide. Up. And again, just test. Nothing's pulling. It feels nice. This is your take-up lever. This is just your safety so that you don't put your finger here. You never want to do that. And now I'm going to go from right to left. And we have another thread guide to the left of that. And then we have another thread guide here. Make sure the foot is down, and then go from front to back now. Now the needle has 2 sides of it. Okay, so let's talk about this sewing machine needle before I put it back in the machine. So if you look at the needle, there's a scarf which has like a little divot coming on the side, and then this side just has like a long skinny groove. The side with the scarf needs to go to the right of the machine, and the skinny groove will be on your left. So you'll be threading from left to right. This is the shank of the needle, and we're going to put it into the machine. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to put the scarf to the right of the machine, And inside there's a little hole in here, so you're just gonna have to feel your way and make sure that the needle goes perfectly in. And then take your screwdriver for your needle screw. Don't use a bobbin or anything. You wanna make sure you use the proper tool so you don't strip your needle, your screw. And I'm just gonna grab my tweezer. And we're gonna thread the needle from left to right. There we go. Okay. And then you want to take this thread and put it between the toes of the foot. So this is your standard foot for the machine. This is your safety so that you don't put your finger under there. And so you want to get it under there and put it between the toes and just bring it to the back. This is also your called your throat plate. This has the numbers on it that tells you your seam allowance measurements. And then under here is what's called the feed dog. And this is what will push your fabric through the machine. So this one is just your standard one. There's sometimes they're different, they're higher or lower, but this is the standard one. Okay, that's the completion of the main part of the threading. And then now I'm gonna show you how to put the bobbin in. All right, so now we need to put the bobbin into the bobbin case. And this one's already wound, so I'll show you in another part how to wind it. But you want to look at the different parts of the bobbin case. This has a little lever here. That's where I usually hold it and put my finger on. You have your little spindle. And then you have your bobbin. So the bobbin thread is going to go into this slit. And when you hold it like this, you don't want it to be in the direction that it is right now, because that's the way it looks like it would normally go, right into the slit. So once you get it like that, you want to turn it the opposite way. It has to go like counterclockwise to that. And then you're going to pull the thread through that first slit. Now there's a little tiny hole and it has a slit and it's going to go in there. Okay, so that's one and then two. Now I'm going to show you where it goes inside the machine, which you shouldn't be lifting the machine like this at home, but I'm going to show it to you. So when we lift the machine, this is where the bobbin is going to get into, this is called the bobbin hook. So it's going to go right into here. This is your oil tray, by the way, when you're looking at that. You don't want to have to touch that until it needs more oil. All right, so I'm going to put this back down. And now there's a little window here. You can just take a tool, a screwdriver or something, slide it open, and then you can see what you're doing. Now I'm going to go ahead and just hold the bobbin with the bobbin case and keep that lever over my finger. Keep my finger here and there. So I've got 3 fingers on it so it doesn't slide out. And then it's really more like you just put it in, wiggle it until it clicks. If it doesn't click right away, then you have to kind of adjust your the height of this needle by using your hand wheel. And then it should stay in, and then you can go ahead and close the lever, the window.